You feed them every single day. You know their favorite spot on the couch, the exact sound they make when they are happy, the way they look at you when you walk through the door. But here's the question that keeps pet owners up at night: if you disappeared tomorrow, would your pet even remember you existed? It sounds like a simple question. It isn't. Because the answer depends on something most people have never even thought about. Memory isn't one thing. It's not a single drawer in the brain labeled "things I remember." It's several completely different systems, and animals don't use all of them the way we do. Scientists split memory into two broad categories. The first is called episodic memory. That's the kind that lets you replay a specific moment, like your last birthday, in your head like a movie. The second is called associative memory, connecting a feeling, a smell, or a sound to an outcome, without necessarily reliving the moment itself. Here's the uncomfortable part. For decades, most researchers assumed animals only had the second kind. That dogs, cats, and other pets could learn patterns. This human means food, this human means safety, but couldn't actually remember you, specifically, as an event in their past. If that were fully true, the moment you leave the room, in some sense, you'd start to fade. Not because they don't care. Because the machinery for holding onto a specific memory of you might not even exist in their brain. But new research is turning that assumption upside down, and what scientists found next changes everything about how we think our pets experience us. In 2016, researchers at a university in Hungary ran an experiment that shook this whole field. They trained dogs to imitate human actions on command, nothing unusual there. But then, without warning, they tested the dogs on actions they hadn't been specifically cued to remember. And the dogs still recalled them, days later, with no reinforcement in between. That single result mattered because it suggested something called episodic-like memory. Dogs weren't just running on instinct and repetition. They were storing something closer to an actual memory of an event that happened to them. Now apply that to you. Every walk, every meal, every moment you sat on the floor and let them climb into your lap, these aren't just data points reinforcing a behavior. There's real evidence your dog may be filing these away as things that happened, not just patterns to predict. Cats complicate the picture. Their memory research is far less advanced, but what we do know is that cats hold onto associative memory for remarkably long periods. Some documented cases show cats recognizing a specific person's voice or scent after separations lasting over a year, even after the smell of their old home is long gone from their fur. And it's not just dogs and cats. Elephants are famous for this. Matriarchs have been recorded reacting with distinct behavioral changes upon encountering family members after gaps of decades. Horses have demonstrated similar recognition of specific humans after years apart, responding differently to a familiar face versus a stranger even without any recent contact. So the science says something remarkable: memory of you, specifically, might not fade the way we assumed. But there's a catch nobody talks about, and it changes the entire emotional weight of this question. Here's the twist. Even if the memory of you technically stays intact somewhere in your pet's brain, that doesn't mean it functions the way human memory does. Human memory is layered with narrative. We know when something happened, we can place it on a timeline, we can miss someone abstractly, even without a trigger in front of us. Animal memory, even the episodic-like kind, appears to be much more cue-dependent. Meaning the memory might not surface as constant longing. It may need a trigger, your scent on an old blanket, the sound of your specific footsteps, the pitch of your voice, to actually activate. This is why reunion videos hit so hard. When a dog loses its mind with joy after months or years apart, it's not because it was consciously missing you the whole time in the human sense. It's more likely that seeing you re-triggered a stored memory so strong, it produced an immediate, overwhelming emotional response, almost like the memory was frozen in place, waiting for the right key to unlock it. There's also a darker side of this catch. In cases of extreme trauma or extended separation, abandoned or rescued animals, for example, sometimes the trigger stops working altogether. Their scent changes, their voice changes, the context is gone, and the memory, even if it's technically still there, may never get reactivated. Which raises the real question buried inside the title of this video. It's not really, will they remember you, It's, will something ever happen that brings that memory back to the surface? Memory in animals isn't a photo album they flip through when they are bored. It's closer to a locked room, and only certain keys open the door. So if memory needs a trigger to resurface, what actually determines whether that door stays reachable, or gets sealed shut forever? The determining factor, according to the research, comes down to two things: emotional intensity and repetition. Memories tied to strong emotional experiences, comfort during fear, safety during distress, consistent daily bonding, get encoded far more deeply than neutral, low-stakes interactions. This is backed by neuroscience that isn't even specific to pets. The amygdala, the brain region responsible for processing emotional weight, plays a direct role in how strongly a memory gets stored across nearly all mammals. High emotional charge literally means stronger, more retrievable memory. Which means the walks, the comfort during storms, the moments you were there when they were scared, those aren't just nice memories for you. They may be the exact reason your pet's memory of you survives at all. So to actually answer the question, will your pet remember you forever? The honest scientific answer is, probably yes, in some form, especially if your bond involved real emotional weight. But whether that memory ever resurfaces depends entirely on whether life gives them the right trigger, your voice, your scent, your presence, to open that locked door again. That's actually a strangely comforting thought. It means the ordinary, everyday moments, the ones that feel too small to matter, sitting together, being present during hard moments, are doing more permanent work in your pet's brain than almost anything else you could do. So next time your pet looks up at you for no obvious reason, consider what's actually happening. You might be watching a memory get written in real time, one that, according to the growing body of research on animal cognition, may genuinely never fully disappear. If this made you think differently about your own pet, that's exactly the kind of question this channel exists to dig into, so stick around, because next time we're going even deeper into what animals actually understand about us.